Large transaction between Idea and Vodafone and ATC, which has bought over their independent tower assets for 7,850 odd crore rupees. Amit Sharma, who heads ATC India, is joining us with a detailed discussion on this large transaction. Amit, so good to have you on CNBC TV18. Many congratulations on this large transaction. You have grown in India through multiple acquisitions in the past. This one is a large one, and it brings you to 20% share in the overall telecom tower business in India. How does it really fit into the strategy of ATC when it comes to the Indian telecom tower space?
We are now the clear number 2 player in the market, and that is a very good position for us to be in. With the boom in data, this country will have 4 to 5 players, all of whom will be focusing on growing their data networks. And with a portfolio of 80,000 and the long-term organic growth that we intend to have, we can see ourselves as being a very major partner to all of these operators, not just only Idea and Voda, who are captured as part of this current transaction.
So, Amit, has this also considered the overlapping sites and therefore the tenancy ratio going down post the Idea Voda merger?
Nisha, it does factor in certain number of sites or tenancies going down from the Idea Voda side, which are overlap tenancies. These will go down over a period of 3 years. But on the flip side, we will be getting new tenancies over the same 3-year period. So we factored that into the model, and that does the resultant price has taken that into effect.
Your press release says that ATC TIPL will secure certain preferential rights for future new business commencement on its existing portfolio and on the sites being acquired in certain Indian markets. What does this mean when it comes to your partnership and the transaction with Idea Vodafone?
Each of the carriers is now racing ahead to get the quality of data network needed to compete with Arjio, who have a greenfield network, the like of which has not been seen before. So the need to have an immediate portfolio to offer is important, but equally important is the need to have a TowerCo partner who has the financial strength and wherewithal to build organically wherever there are gaps and where the customer requires infilled sites.
And what is the impact of Bharti buying Tata Tele's assets, Amit? Because Tata Tele has a substantial stake in Viom as well. It is a partner there. So has Bharti also committed to the tenancies to be given to Viom?
Yeah. Nisha, it is somewhat early to tell how that merger will play out. The announcements were in the press only a few weeks ago. Typically, it takes months for the network guys to decide what parts of the acquired company's network they need to keep and what part of it would be redundant. At that point, we will know how many of those sites will go over to Airtel and become part of the Airtel network. And of course, there will be sites that will not be required by Airtel. However, we have various agreements with Tatas that cover those sites.
Right. So your rights have been protected. Your financial position over there has also been protected, Amit.
I'm afraid because of confidentiality reasons, I can't go more into that. But yes, we have certain rights and obligations that will protect us.
Right, and also Tatas have put options coming in 2 tranches in 2018 and 19. So is it also your strategy to acquire 100% of Viom and be a much larger player and consolidate it?
Nisha, that is, the put option is entirely the right of the seller, and I can't speak for our minority partners whether they would want to sell or stay longer term. But the one thing that is clear to us is that we intend to grow, and at least some of the minority partners have already expressed views to us that they want to grow with us.
So there is a lot of consolidation happening in the telecom tower space, Amit. You have kick-started it. Another large transaction is already going on between Bharti Infratel, Indus, probably merging if all goes well, and then KKR taking a substantial controlling majority in that combined entity. Were you not interested in that? Do you think it's a missed opportunity for you?
Nisha, they are many portfolios actually up for sale in the market. For a variety of reasons, we felt the Idea Voda portfolio fit our requirements the best, both in terms of counterparties, the quality of the portfolio, the location of the sites. This allows us, for example, to grow in markets like Gujarat, MP, Bihar, Orissa, which are don't grab the headlines, but they have the largest growth potential for data. So two different ways of answering your question. We tend to be quite selective. That is not to say that the other portfolios are not attractive. It is just that given at this stage of our company's growth, this was a better fit.
And you think GTL is also fitting into your strategy?
I'm afraid I cannot comment on any specific portfolio other than the deal we've just done.
I'll give it one more try, Amit. Of course, Bharti Indus, you said that probably you didn't find it fit enough for your strategy. And if this entire transaction really happens, there would still be some commonalities and some overlaps which will have to be sold off. Would you look at buying out assets at that time as well?
We will keep an eye out for what is out there. And if there's something that we think the valuations are right and the fit is good, we will step in. But my priority remains integration of the current transaction.
How do you see the telecom tower growth happening? Because in the last several years, we haven't really seen any growth in this particular space. Do you think that is also now going to happen?
4G requires much closer working between carriers and their provider, because the 4G network evolves over time. As the load, let's say the subscriber load in a particular area grows, the cell site radius shrinks, and pretty much in real time the network has to be reconfigured. That's where having a partner you can depend on makes a big difference.
So you are clarifying that the towers that you're buying will not go redundant with the new technology disruption.
Right. They will remain the hub of what we think is a hub and spoke model that will be applicable in the Indian market. The endpoints of the spoke being these points of presence, small cells, Wi-Fi nodes, etc. And the hub being the central point where the traffic gets aggregated, and once aggregated is carried on optic fiber network.
All right, and how much investments are lined up, Amit, from your kitty for India?
I'm afraid I cannot go beyond what we've already invested, which is roughly, including today's commitment, it is roughly about $3 billion. For the rest, hey, it remains to be seen. Look forward to doing more business.
But at the moment, if you can shed more light on the percentage of your tenancy coming in from the big three telecom operators.
I wish I had the exact numbers with me. Our ATC legacy business, the largest portion of tenancies comes from Idea, Voda and Airtel. An overwhelming share of business comes from Idea, Voda and Airtel. In the case of ATC Vyom, the entity we bought, roughly about 40% of that business came from the two main players, Tata and Telenor, and roughly about 45% came from the three incumbents, Airtel, Voda and Idea. Unfortunately, I don't offhand know what the market shares are for the combined company.
But a large portion is coming in.
But it is fair to say that a large and increasingly larger portion of our business will come from Idea, Voda and Airtel and our Jio.